With this C# library, I have a copy of the 2.3 model.
Mhm.
So when I run this example program down here, which again, it takes the deserialized XML, which is right now it's configured to source it from my home server.
Mhm.
So I have this copy of the model here in this file path, and I'm telling it, okay, I want you to generate this C# library from this version of the standard.
I see.
So when I run this program, it will automatically write all of these files. Yeah. All right, so if I run this, hopefully I won't get an error because I think that variable already exists. But right now it's pulling the model from that server location,
Mhm.
and it's deserializing it into that XMI document
Mhm.
that's in the other library. And then once it's done deserializing it, it's going to this example project is going to navigate that model and start coming up with templates or template models where we then use the Scriban library to automatically generate these C# files based on a template. So here it's already saving a bunch of the files. We'll wait for it to finish here. And all right, so now we have successfully deserialized the XML document, and we've now produced updates to all of these C# files
Mhm.
in the C# library. And all that we've done is we've updated the version for the generated code attribute
Mhm.
to be foobar, right?
Yep.
So going back into this example, like if you want to, in this case, we're generating C# code. So we're utilizing this Scriban template engine where I've, I've outlined the general structure of what these files should look like. And I'm using pretty simple models to supply this template engine and kind of inject parts of text into this file. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So just a quick peek into that. It's a pretty simple representation of a C# enum. We have a reference to the SysML ID that we can use, in the template itself. That's really helpful for coming up with these IntelliSense descriptions. So I can link directly to the model browser from here. So if I hover over this and click on the model link, it takes me directly to the cutting item because I have a reference to that internal SysML ID. What else was I? Let's see. Yeah, other parts of the representation. An enum item, really simple. You have a name for the field. You typically have a defined namespace. Yeah. For classes, you have a list of properties. You have generalizations like, does it implement this type or interface? Properties like access modifiers. So this can be as simple or complicated as you want, really. Anything to add so far?
Nope. It. Well, how to say? So basically, this C# library is for the basically the developers who wanna follow the MtconnectConnect standard without looking into the PDF file or even the looking into SysML structure.
Mhm.
as always, you specify the version of the SysML document, XML file, and then all of the library and class and method will be automatically updated. And then the developer can use that library for the basically to generate the XML. I mean the agent XML document, device XML document, as well as for the adapter. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. Okay.
So this C# library is just meant to be kind of a way of reflecting on the MTConnect model. So a use case for this from here. So this C# library represents the MTConnect model in a C# structure, right?
Yep.
So then the use case for that is for example, in our validation code, we want to further transpile the MTConnect standard into a different structure of C# that fits our SDK. So an example of that is if we look at our validation software, we have a list of data item types. I don't want to fully document all of these enums by hand, right?
Yep.
These are all the different enums defined in the MTConnect standard, and some of them are quite large. And this one is 16,500 lines of code. And I don't want to have to maintain, when it was introduced and when it was deprecated. Nor do I want to maintain like changes to the summaries. I just want it to be always up to date with the standard. So what I've done is I reference this C# library that I showed you before, and instead of using the XMI document to create these C# files, I can just reference an instance of the model, the C#, the model that's in the C# library. So here we're looking at in the C# library, there's an extension to, just very simply, I want to get all of the data item types defined in the standard. And once I iterate through each of the types, I want to look at the subtypes. I don't want to have to go and search for the subtypes. So I've simplified a lot of this, with these helper methods. If I look into that deeper, within this extension, it's just simply looking at the static reference that was generated by the original transpiler. So this MTConnect model class was generated by the original transpiler into a static class. And all these properties are statically referenced. So I can just traverse through, the full property structure to get to, the conditions, events, and samples. And then through that, I can iterate through the classes and identify which ones are types. So basically any class name that doesn't contain a dot is a type, not a subtype. But then if I want to get all the subtypes, I look for all the ones that have a dot and that start with the name of this class, right? So you can see here, this C# library that was automatically generated from the XMI document now enables me to simplify the code to get to the information that I want as the end developer. My goal as the end developer is to introduce validation, or maybe your use case is to develop an adapter, or an agent.
Yep.
An agent's probably a better example.
Yep.
So if I'm, just getting familiar with the MTConnect standard, I can look at the model browser and I can look at the protocol, and I can see that the REST protocol is clearly defined here in the model browser.
Yep.
I should be able to use that C# library to automatically construct all of the methods for probe, current, sample, and asset, and wrap it in a REST API automatically with all of these parameters. So as a developer, I should never have to keep track of what the parameters are, whether or not they still apply to the standard. I can use a transpiler to automate that.